Gardeners are missing the easiest winter soil upgrade ever, and honestly, it's sitting right in their yard. Most gardeners brace for winter as if it's the season when their soil just shuts down, the biology slows to a crawl, and progress simply pauses until spring. But there's a wildly simple shift you can make, starting today, that actually turns winter into the most productive underground season your garden has ever experienced. It's cheap, it's natural, and honestly, you already have everything you need lying across your lawn. Because when you use fallen leaves the right way, they don't just cover your soil, they flip a biological switch that transforms your garden beds into a winter worm factory, powering explosive soil improvement long before your first spring planting. Welcome back to Crop Corner, where we turn everyday gardeners into soil-building pros. And what you're about to learn is one of the strongest winter gardening strategies you can adopt. One that works quietly, consistently, and almost unbelievably fast beneath your feet. Why leaves are the hidden engine beneath great winter soil. The biggest mistake gardeners make every fall is treating leaves as waste, bagging them up, raking them out, removing them from the one place where nature intended them to do their real work, the soil surface. Leaves are not debris. Leaves are a perfectly balanced carbon resource designed to feed the very organisms that make soil fertile. They break down faster than wood mulches, they feed deeper than bark chunks, and they create a soft, moisture-rich environment worms consider luxury living. And that's the difference between gardens that decline all winter and gardens that wake up in spring with soil so dark and crumbly it looks like it's been sifted by hand. When leaves decompose, their structure softens into a food source that earthworms absolutely adore. Instead of forming a resistant crust like hardwood mulch often does, leaves melt into the top layers of soil, feeding the entire microbial chain from top to bottom. This active decomposition becomes the bridge that keeps soil organisms alive and busy through winter, instead of forcing them into dormancy. Worms aren't attracted by chance. They follow very predictable survival rules. Find food, find moisture, avoid cold shock. A leaf blanket provides all three. As the leaf layer breaks down, it releases a steady, slow-burn stream of carbon and trace minerals that worms can ingest constantly. It also traps warmth, holding a layer of insulating air between the mulch and the soil, which drastically reduces temperature swings that push worms downward. And because leaves retain moisture so well, they prevent the dehydrating freeze-thaw cycles that normally force worms into hiding. The result is remarkable. Instead of retreating deep underground for months, worms stay closer to the surface, active, feeding, and multiplying. Even when frost coats your garden beds, the living soil beneath remains warm enough for worms to keep working. What other gardeners consider dead season becomes your biological jackpot. You know, it's not just about creating more worms. You're actually creating bigger, healthier, and more powerful ones. Leaves naturally break down into a carbon-rich, soft, and digestible material that worms can process in, well, massive amounts. This steady food supply really promotes their size, color, weight, and activity. With leaves beneath them, worms tunnel more, breed more, and produce far more castings than they do in ordinary compost or untreated soil. The microtunnels formed as decomposing leaves collapse create an ideal worm habitat, moist, soft, and easy for them to move through. Worms raised in leaf-rich environments routinely grow longer and thicker, and their castings are honestly some of the richest natural fertilizers you can add to your garden. A winter leaf layer doesn't just protect your worms, it turns them into soil-building machines. So, this is where your winter worm factory begins. The goal is simple: create a thick, moisture-holding, slow-decomposing blanket that feeds worms non-stop through the cold months. Start by collecting dry leaves from around your property. Any common tree leaves are perfect, as long as they haven't been exposed to chemicals or lawn treatments. Shredding is optional, but it does speed decomposition. Both full and shredded leaves attract worms. Shredded leaves just break down a bit faster. Spread your leaf layer across garden beds in a 6 to 8 inch blanket. This is the sweet spot where you get warmth, moisture retention, and steady breakdown without smothering your soil. Next, you'll activate this layer the way worms love best, by adding moisture. Water your leaf blanket using 2 gallons of water for every 10 square feet. This helps settle the leaves, kickstart decomposition, and soften the texture so that worms will move upward almost immediately. If you garden in a region with harsh winters, add a thin layer of compost or soil on top, just an inch or two. This extra shield locks in more warmth and prevents wind from blowing the leaves around. Within days, the leaf layer will begin absorbing moisture and softening. Microbes will move in first, followed closely by worms. What looks like an ordinary mulch from above becomes a bustling community below. Winter usually slows everything down, but with a leaf mulch in place, your soil becomes its own insulated microclimate where life doesn't stop. It simply shifts. The insulating blanket reduces the temperature swings that normally drive worms deep underground. Moisture trapped between the layers stays stable for weeks at a time, protecting worms from dehydration. Microbes continue breaking down the leaf matter, producing tiny amounts of natural heat, just enough to keep decomposition humming even when the air outside turns icy. This is why, when spring finally breaks, gardens mulched with leaves wake up first. Their soil never truly slept. By the time thaw arrives, your leaf layer won't look the same. Much of it will have transformed into dark, crumbly, sweet-smelling organic matter, threaded with worm tunnels and bursting with fresh castings. Your soil structure improves dramatically. It becomes lighter, airier, richer, and full of microbial activity. Plants feel the difference instantly. They root deeper, grow faster, and develop stronger immune systems because the soil is naturally fertile and biologically alive. Instead of relying on fertilizers or constant amendments, your garden begins producing its own nutrients from within. And all of this began with leaves, free, abundant, renewable leaves, being used the way nature intended. Once you see what a winter leaf layer does, it becomes almost unthinkable to bag them up or haul them away. Leaves are the most underrated soil resource in gardening. They fuel worms, feed microbes, enrich fertility, stabilize moisture, reduce erosion, and keep your soil improving even during the quiet months. A garden powered by a winter leaf layer becomes an ecosystem, not just a project. It grows itself, it regenerates, it gets better every season. If you want a garden that explodes with life in spring, start laying down those leaves today. Build that soft, rich, worm-friendly blanket and let nature take over. This simple change has transformed thousands of gardens, and it will transform yours too. And if you love this guide and want more timeless growing tips that actually work, make sure you subscribe to Crop Corner and share this with a gardener who needs a little winter magic of their own.